Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome.
I'm currently being forced to do the intro, which makes me really nervous, but I guess it's good to do things that make you nervous. So thank you.
You got this.
So today we're going to get into a little bit about friends with benefits.
Yes.
So we want to talk about, we're going to talk about, is it possible to have a friends with benefits relationship with an ex?
Ooh.
Is it harder for women to be in friends with benefits relationships than men? And can friends with benefits actually work, and can it lead to a real relationship?
We don't know. Let's get into it.
Yay!
Can you believe it?
No, it's been a month, I think, since we filmed anything, and I'm kind of nervous.
It's been over a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes. Sitting here, we had to literally, we should have just had a checklist because we're like, record, lights on. This is like all the behind the scenes things that we have to think about. And being off for a month was kind of crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, to get back into it.
To just remember everything.
Yeah.
And the camera situation. I know a lot of you are asking where the videos are. So the podcast has been out every week. We were just having some technical difficulties, but we have a new camera. Everything is set. Hopefully we're not jinxing ourselves. We're professionals.
We like to think that we are, and then things don't end up working. But thank you to everyone that lets us know every week.
Right. But we got this. I think we're good. So we're back, COVID free. Oh my goodness. What a time. For the YouTube peeps. Me, Andrew, and the baby caught COVID this month. So we have been taking time to heal. We're all good in the negative and just loving, like, I am so happy for us to be back here, and then also just for good health in general. So that's that. And I actually did an episode kind of talking about our experience and kind of like the beginning of this year. So if you want to check that out, it's on iTunes. Anywho, we're going to talk about friends with benefits because everyone's so interested. It's such a hot button topic, and we have some myths that we want to bust and some questions that we want to answer from our audience. In the past, we did a video all about how to make a friends with benefits into a real relationship. And I kind of gave you some tips and some advice on how to expand that relationship. Friends with benefit relationships are a relationship. It's still a relationship. It's, I want you to, understand that, even though it's not an intimate relationship in the way that you think of emotional connection and all of those things, it's still an agreement. It's an agreement for a specific type of relationship. And I want us to kind of get into some of the rules that I have, I think, that would benefit you if you are in a friends with benefit type of relationship, things to think about. And then we're going to get into obviously some myth busting, because there is some advice online that I have an issue with.
We found an article in doing the research for this episode. We found an article, and it was incredible, but not in a good way incredible.
No.
The advice that this person was giving is alarming.
Very.
So I wrote down some tips from that, or points from that I thought were insane.
Yeah. And we're all modern women here, and the gents that are also listening, hi, and we love you. And what I want us to do is really rethink these limiting structures we have on genders and relationships in general. I think one of the things that we don't like to do here, and the reasons why I'm taking time even speaking about the masculine and feminine energy, is because it's not a one size fits all. And there's so many unique aspects to that you can't overgeneralize. And so it's easy to say women are and men are, but that doesn't help us, because the emails and the questions that we get from you, these are real life people who are experiencing the intricacies of relationships and how these energies play, the masculine and feminine energies. And then also, we talked about in a past episode that we're going to bring into this to kind of like so that you can expand the scope is the erotic blueprints, right?
Yeah.
That we discussed from Jaya Ma, who was on an episode with us too, and how that plays into whether or not certain types of relationships work, because relationships are all just an agreement that you choose. You know, it's an agreement of rules and boundaries that you have, and you both are signing off on. That goes with any relationship in your life, you know. But intimately, you know, that's why I think not making sexuality and sexual expression and money and all of those things taboo. It's really, you know, you being open about what it is that you want so that you both can choose to either say yes or no to those agreements.
I just had a thought.
What?
Okay, I was thinking about like a sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship and why they actually do kind of work out.
Yeah.
Because it literally is, there's boundaries set, rules set, and you're getting this, I'm getting this.
Yes.
Where there aren't really lines that are blurred as much as with a normal like friends with benefits relationship where that's kind of what it is.
Right.
But I feel like there are more set guidelines and set rules.
So true.
And I don't think people talk about sugar baby, sugar daddy relationships
and
that
that's
much.
a relationship. And here's the thing, like, regardless of what you believe a relationship to be, I have my beliefs certainly on types of relationships. As long as you are agreeing, you know, both people are agreeing to the same terms, that's your prerogative.
Yeah.
That is your prerogative. And I think the number one thing that generally speaking, people will ask me if friends with benefits is even something that's sustainable. Short answer is yeah. There are.
In the long term?
Not in the long term.
Okay.
But I mean something that you can actually, you know, and we're going to get into some myths because I think that there are some myths about specifically, you know, women not being able to, you know, aren't usually able to have friends with benefits. And I want to bust that myth on its fucking head because I think it's super overgeneralizing, and we'll discuss that, I guess, coming up.
Ooh. I feel like we have some good questions, and I think that would lead into some good topics.
I'm here for it.
Do you want to take a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think a romantic relationship can spark from a friends with benefits relationship? I'm seeing someone from my old job, and we are both going through a divorce, which is both final next month. We have been seeing each other almost 2 months, hanging out, going out bowling or movies. This is probably pre-COVID, but that's okay. Or
Yes,
even
definitely.
the added benefit part too. But we haven't said we aren't any more than friends to everyone who asks. But I was wondering if you think anything romantic can come from this.
This is a good question.
It's interesting, actually.
And it's really nice because companionship, you know, a lot of people ask also if, is it okay to jump into a relationship after a relationship? Well, here's the thing, like, you could be married to somebody but not have a relationship.
Yes.
You know, so you could have already been that ship has sailed. That book has been closed for a while. A divorce just usually takes longer. You just never know where people are. I'm a fan of dating when you feel you're ready. You know, there's no time stamp on that. But this is beautiful. Sounds like they're doing fun things outside of the bedroom, which usually people think of friends with benefits as like just this sexual agreement that you have. You just can hook up but sounds like they have a really nice companionship. And I think that there is opportunity here. They're kind of in the same, they've ended relationships. They're hanging out and doing things of interest to both of them, which is how you really connect in real relationships. It's how you you start seeing people's values and interests, and you're pretty much dating.
That's what I think. I was going to say, because it sounds like to me, they're in similar stages in their life. Like they're both going through divorces. It's not like one person has been divorced or has been single. So it seems like they're both in the same phase where maybe they want to have something more casual.
Yes.
And not one person's not looking for a serious relationship right now. Yeah, and they can just have fun together. And what's interesting is the way that she words this, I don't feel like there's any animosity or she's wanting something more from it than what is being given to her right now.
Right. She's actually just open to possibilities.
Yes.
And it sounds really exciting
Yes.
and just very light. It sounds like they like each other. There's no expectation behind it. There's no, this like hidden, I would guess like this hidden expectation that she has for this relationship. She's just kind of being present with it, and she's open to the possibility, and she's just kind of seeing, could this turn into something if we wanted it? And of course it could. And in one of the videos that I did a while ago on how to expand that, well, one of the things was see if you guys actually have similar interests outside of just hooking up, right? Like see if you guys can go and hang out and see if that person is actually interested in doing that, but they're already doing that.
I know. No, it sounds like they're dating.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's pretty cute.
that was really cute.
Yes. And so, yes, there is opportunity to expand that. This is an older question, but I would love to check in and see.
I know if they're
where they
still
are now.
together.
Yes.
Wait, I wonder if she still listens or watches
I
or
wonder.
goes to our site.
Well,
if you do, or if you're listening or watching this, please
out to us.
Send us an email.
Yes.
I'm so curious.
Yes.
Yeah, it just sounds like you're dating.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Okay.
And the friends part, like they're friends. Like that is
No,
beautiful.
they like each
because,
other.
You want to establish that friendship. Before, like for me, more than love, because everyone gets love twisted. The one thing I think is more powerful than love is you liking your partner, right? And so you establish that through friendship, through similar interests, through, connecting out in the world and experiencing life together. And they're doing that.
I hope it worked out.
I know. I'm curious.
Me too. Okay, number 2. Hi, I'm in a friends with benefits relationship right now. We both are kind of afraid to end up in a serious relationship again. The goal is to keep it simple. So we are actually on the same page. The problem is we both agreed on that it's okay to meet or hook up with other people. And the thing is, both of us get bad conscience while meeting or chatting with others, and we both get sad knowing the other one might meet someone else.
Okay.
Seems like we are developing feelings for each other, but at the same time, we don't want to lose our freedom. What do we do?
Well, you guys made that agreement. That's true. And then the thing is, that's where you want to start. And that's, I'm glad that I'm glad she used the word agreement, so they established the rules, the ground rules and the boundaries of that relationship. If they're both getting jealous, obviously that means that they've had those conversations. So then, what I would do is if you guys are getting jealous from seeing other people, obviously you guys might have some connection and emotional attachment to each other, which is kind of the foundation for a real relationship. So what I would say is expand freedom. What does freedom mean to you? What does freedom mean to your partner? And could that be met in a exclusive relationship? Because it sounds like you guys are kind of heading that way. It sounds like this is an exclusive relationship, and you guys are trying, that's something that you guys are trying to do, but you are kind of fearful that you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. So you guys have some old belief systems about what relationships are. So maybe expand that and talk to each other about it.
What do you think freedom usually means in relationships, or what do you think freedom is that people are scared of losing?
It's different for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think that, if you've been single for a while, for instance, and you have your own place and you don't have to answer to anyone and, you can do whatever you want, right? You can probably see other people, that's freedom in itself. But maybe some of those freedoms you can compromise. And, here's the thing. You're going to lose freedom being in a relationship.
Yes.
But here's I'm a very freedom-oriented person. Andrew's a very freedom-oriented person. You lose freedom when you're in a relationship, but the value is still there. So for us, our whole life is about freedom. The way we structure our life is about freedom. But you lose it when you're in an intimate relationship, because the beauty of relationships and the spirituality of relationships, because everyone talks about, how different relationships open up and like they expand their, either or they can explore spirituality through relationships. The spiritual practice of relationships is the balance of losing freedom and also your personal freedom. So I think that like don't get so attached to losing freedom, because like that's the practice of relationships. You're kind of like falling into the needs of another person. And that's beautiful. So I would expand it. See what you're fearful of losing. What are things that you definitely do not want to let go of, or you're not ready to let go of yet? And if this potential relationship is worth it.
Wow.
What do you think freedom is?
I was just trying to think of what freedom was to me. I think freedom to me is just having alone time. It's not even that much. So like my thing is, if I'm dating someone, I still want to have my own life.
Right.
And be able to spend time with people that I want to spend time with without that person involved. Like I see a lot of people in relationships and then their entire life becomes their partner.
Right.
And they lose a sense of self in a way.
Yeah.
And then say that they break up, their life like crumbles and falls apart because their entire life was that person.
For sure.
And to me, that's scary. So for me, I think freedom is just having my own sense of self. But I want to do everything with someone. Like I want to be with someone.
Yes. And I think that that's something that is really important to become, like, I'm glad that you talked about that because even though you're in a relationship, you should never lose yourself, because the relationship flourishes and lives when two people are alive in it, So that's the thing. Like, freedom means just having your space. Like you would definitely, you should and always, should establish those boundaries in a relationship, You don't always need to be, with that person doing things together. You can have your own interests. And I think that that's really, really important. Andrew and I are with each other most of the time, but we have our own thing. And there's just this freedom of expression. For me being who I am and being able to express myself in the ways that I want to express myself or try things that I want to try, even if Andrew's not interested in it. He allows me to do that. And I think that that's, for me, freedom. Like I don't have to be anybody I'm not. I can literally exist and expand who I am in this relationship because he allows the space. Same for him. So it's really just creating this space for each other to grow, So, and that's like the ultimate freedom for me. And then, there are times where you just want, he'll want to go read a book, or take a nap. And same, so I think that's something you can easily do. But expanding the scope on freedom, again, you don't want to just toss terms around without really knowing what they mean to you.
Okay. Let's see.
I think I'm stuttering. I think I'm it's so crazy coming back because I'm just super jittery and excited.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I'm
I didn't even notice.
Well,
okay. I have a friends with benefits relationship with a guy for about 2 years, and he doesn't want to get in a real relationship. Mm-hmm. He says that he can't stay away from me, and we spend almost 18 hours together every day.
Okay.
That's a lot. I don't know if he loves me or he just has lust for me, but I am very attached to him. How do I deal with this?
Okay.
This is different because this one is totally one-sided.
This is one-sided. So once you've established that this is a one-sided relationship, and here's the thing. It doesn't matter what you are doing with this person. It doesn't matter if you guys are going on dates or on trips together or whatever it is. If you can't make something what it's not. Mm-hmm. If someone does not agree to be in this relationship, there is no relationship. And that's just the hard truth. A relationship is two people agreeing to be, in this experience together. So if this is something that you have more feelings with, but this person is just not and is telling you, no, not ready for this relationship, it doesn't matter if you think that you're in one. This is a one-sided relationship emotionally. And even if we were to be psychic and know that this person really, really wants to be with you and they're just not ready to open up. They're not ready to open up emotionally. So you can't make something what it's not, or you can't put words in their mouth and make something that's, they're clearly saying that they're not ready for.
Even if, because to her, it's, well, we're spending all day together every day for 2 years, but this person still isn't telling you that, then it is what it is. And you can't, just because in your mind, that's what dating is, or you're together.
Yeah.
If somebody's telling you that you're not, I don't think you are.
You're not.
And it sucks, but
it really does. And again, I'm not saying that he doesn't care for you.
No.
Or maybe he might have feelings for you and want to be in a relationship. Maybe he has, he's emotionally unavailable. But at the same time, we can't get in the practice of creating illusions around a person or a relationship. They also have to be willing to show up. Mm-hmm. So in actions, and in the way that they express. And if he or she is saying, is it a he?
It's
a part. Okay. If he is saying, I'm not, I don't want to be in a relationship. He doesn't want to be in a relationship. And you can't make it more than that. Until he changes his mind, you definitely don't want to make something more. And I know this is not easy to say because it hurts. But until he's ready to step up and say, you know what? No, I'm going to, this is something I want to work on and I want to do this with you. You can't make it what it's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, okay, the guy I'm dating, he's like, I hate talking on the phone. I don't want to talk on the phone. He calls me. We talk every night for 2 hours. So I'm like, if they want to, they will show up and they will.
Yes. And I think that's like a perfect, because a lot of times, going back to the last question about freedom, a lot of times we get jaded on, and because of our past experiences, we have this like a negative meaning around relationships and marriage. That's another one that a lot of people experience, and freedom and all of those things, like, oh my goodness. So whatever the belief system is around relationships, that might be the case for him. And maybe, not putting a label on this thing that you guys have allows him to be more expressive in this relationship that you guys have. Because again, friends with benefits is a relationship. So you guys are in a relationship. You guys have your agreements. You're starting to have feelings, which is normal because it's been 2 years and you guys clearly have something going on. But also you want to, and hope, and, you want people to show up halfway with you. And, until he's willing to call a thing or, show you or tell you where he's at, I wouldn't make this anything that it's not.
But
or
also
put words in his mouth or make it something that he hasn't agreed to.
Is it also too, maybe he is as invested as she is, but she needs to know that they are in a relationship to feel secure?
It could be.
Because that's how I would be.
Yeah.
Like if I don't know that we're exclusively together, I can survive, but I'm not going to be happy with that person.
And then that is, and what I love is you take ownership of that.
Yeah.
So you can express that to your partner or the person that you're dating, and you can say, hey, these are my standards. We've been dating and doing this thing for 2 years now. Okay. Listen, we've been exclusive
For 2 years.
We've been exclusive for 2 years. I am at a point where I need more. Mm-hmm. And I'm not expecting you to deliver that to me, but I'm letting you know that that is something that I need and I desire because I have a right to my desires. And if this is not something that you can do or provide or have the emotional capacity to do that for me, then, these are the things that I have to look into for myself.
Yes.
And then see where that goes.
Okay. So do you want to go into your rules?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. So these are rules for modern singles who would like to have a friend with benefits relationship.
Yes. And, and in these questions, we're kind of hitting them. But if you're going to have a friends with benefit relationship, which is totally fine, because listen, I'm just going to share a story. When I ended my first relationship in my whole life, I was young. And then I think I was like 21 when I was single.
Yeah.
So I had to explore my sexuality and my adulthood, like me as a woman and what I like, and like experience that, like the dating world, you know, because I'm young and I'd been in a relationship for a long time. I was not ready for a relationship. No, because my whole essence and the stage that I was in, when we go back to the erotic blueprints, which we'll have below again, just in case you missed what that was. I was in the sexual phase of my life, right? That's when I was exploring and experimenting, and just dating people and like, having sexual partners. And I was not like having any kind of emotional connection with anybody.
You didn't get attached to anyone?
I didn't get attached to anyone. In fact, this is where the myths are going to come in. It was like the other way around. It was the guys that I was with that would have the attachment and
Do you think
more.
It's because you were emotionally unavailable, it made them want you more? Because I think that's a misconception that people have.
Right. I think, no, I think that they were just ready, you know, for more. And that's not the stage that I was in. And I wouldn't say that I'm naturally a sexual person. I'm actually more sensual, you know, and I am more need emotional connection and all of those things. But the stage of life that I was in, and this is the thing, like we all go through different stages where your energies, and we're going to talk about the feminine energies even shift, and you know, and even with masculine energies, but also like your erotic blueprint shifts, you know? So I would say out of Jaya's core erotic blueprints, I was more in that sexual phase. So I was not looking for connection at all. I mean, connection is like, sometimes I was like, I was friends with them, but I didn't have like I didn't want to date or have it be more than it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the first question that we had where they both were going through divorces.
Yeah.
And that's why it's kind of working, I think, because as we were saying, they're in similar phases in life right now.
Yeah.
So that might be why their situation could work out well.
Yes. And I was 20, not 21. Sorry.
We need a fact checker because
I was like, how old was I? Yeah. No, 20.
Wait, how long are you together?
Who?
You and that guy.
So it was a high school.
Like 16 to 20?
I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, 17 to 20.
That's still 3 years is a long time.
Yeah. And then we went back and then we got back together. But that's another story.
That was another thing that I want to talk about.
We're going to talk about that.
Oh, okay. I don't know when it's going to come up, but I want to know about it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. So the first rule, ladies and gents, if you are trying to have an FWB, is you want to be clear about your ask. These are the terms, the agreement, the boundaries. What is it that you're trying to establish? If you're not looking for a relationship, like a intimate relationship or an emotional, you know, connection with somebody, you just want companionship and you like this person, you guys hang out, you guys have sex, but you want that freedom and you want to kind of date around and stuff. Establish those boundaries. It's okay to say what it is that you want, you know, because ultimately you want people to sign up for that, you know, like you don't want to lead people on. You just want to be very clear. So communication is essential for this type of relationship, because if only one person is signing up for or wants a friends with benefit, but you're doing it with somebody who you know has an emotional, you know, connection with you and wants more, just don't, you know, that's not somebody to sign up with. But if you got somebody who's like, hey, I'm in the same stage and this is kind of cool, you know, we're not trying to have a relationship together, you know, with each other, but we like each other and let's do this and we can still date other people, whatever. But be very clear about the boundaries, because this is still a relationship, right? So if you are going to have a friends with benefits, but you're not clear about, you know, like even going into the micro of, you know, when you guys will hang out and when it's appropriate to call, right? So say you're like dating somebody and you have a friends with benefits, but you're dating other people. You probably don't want your friends with benefits calling and showing up to your house,
No.
randomly. So you still have to have some boundaries in place and things that you guys will exclusively do with each other and, so that you can still have your life. Okay, so that's the first rule.
Could it even be too, if you're okay with sleeping with other people? Mm-hmm. Although then are you in a relationship?
No, if you could sleep.
Because I could never.
Well, friends with benefits is that you guys have the benefits part in the friendship. But yeah, you can still date other people.
I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why it's being very clear.
Well, hence why I've never had a friends with benefits then.
Yes. Yeah, this is really important. And you want to honor your own desires too. So if this is something that you like, knowing that you're sleeping with somebody that you might want more with, and you know that they're sleeping around too, that this isn't going to work. This isn't for you. This is not the friends with benefits is not the video for you.
No.
But if you are kind of like where I was, when I'm like dating people, and even with the friends with benefits that I had, it was very clear, very, very clear. Everyone knew kind of like what was going on. I didn't hide anything. But that's, and eventually when it turned into something more, that was when it ended, when I felt that, on the other side, someone wanted more, that's when it was like, I ended it, So I think just, be very clear and don't be the cool girl. Okay. Or cool guy, whatever it is. Don't like try to get into a situation like this because, you want to seem cool and like everything is okay. And you're not wanting anything when you want something. Like, don't do this to yourself. Like, this is not something you want. Like, and I think I see it a lot too with like, with people, not just women, doing this just to have some kind of relationship with this person. And you don't want to do this to yourself because eventually, when it comes time for you wanting and needing more, this person isn't going to give it to you. And then you're probably going to label them a narcissist and you're probably going to make something like they're going to be the villain. And then it's like they've told you, they were very clear from the start. So don't make something bigger than it is, and do not play yourself. Like, this is not, like if you want something more, don't get into this type of agreement. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the second rule, ladies and gents, is friends with benefit relationships still deserve respect. So that means just because, you're in an agreement where you still have freedom and you can date other people doesn't give you permission to be an asshole, right? Treat people with respect. If you guys are hooking up, it's still a form of like, you still have a relationship in some capacity. Treat people with respect. Honor boundaries. All the boundaries that you've made clear with. Honor, each of you have to honor your boundaries. Don't overstep boundaries. But treat each other with respect. It is not a time, and on the flip side too, with even people who are wanting more, that's also a form, like that's not respect in this relationship. Once you've made the agreement and somebody has like, these are the terms, this is what I'm capable of, this is what I don't want, don't push them into territory that they don't want to be in, because that's not being respectful. Just because you want something more doesn't mean that they do. So don't overstep boundaries. If this is, you both came to an agreement that this is where you guys are going to be, that's where you guys are going to be until you both discuss or the terms have changed.
Say I was in a friends with benefits relationship for like 6 months with someone and everything's going well. Is there a way to approach it? And I have feelings for them. Is there a healthy way to approach it and be like, okay, I've developed feelings. So what would be a good way to approach it in that way?
Or we have a whole video on that. Oh, yeah. We have a whole video we'll link. But the way that you would approach it is be honest, right? You never want to, because again, you want to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
If things change, because you can absolutely start something with the intention of like, you don't want anything, right? Mm-hmm. Friends with benefits, like, trust me and Andrew came from a friends with benefits relationship, which I will talk about that story soon or coming up. But things can change, you know, but be honest first with yourself. When something changes and you are starting to feel like, I can see this person's values. I can see that this person would actually fit in my life. Like I actually have some feelings for this person. First, be honest with yourself. Don't play yourself and put yourself in situations that's going to hurt you. Because first and foremost, ladies and gents, you need to take care of you. Then be honest with that person. It might not work out in your favor. But you also, but because you're fearful that it won't, doesn't mean that you should keep, because essentially it's you stringing yourself along, Yeah. So take care of yourself, be honest with yourself, and then be honest with, hey, I've been having a lot of fun this past 6 months.
Me too.
You're amazing. I love when
God.
we go bowling.
I love bowling with you.
Yes.
When you get a strike, it's amazing.
Yes. And I just love, when we go to the movies and we go hiking, and it's just like I've been seeing a lot of who you are.
Yeah.
And I think, just because of so much time that I've been spending with you and just seeing you interact and how you are, just like the person that you are, I do have some feelings for you.
That's so sweet.
And I'm not expecting anything.
Oh, okay.
Good. And I'm just letting you know because I have to be honest. And I know that we both agree that this is as far as this relationship will go. But I just thought that I'd reach out and talk to you about it and see if things have changed for you.
Oh my God. That's so nice.
Have things changed for you?
After that speech, yes.
Okay.
I was prepared to say no, but then you did that speech and now I'm sold.
Okay. Well, I know that we hang out a lot.
I don't want to see anyone else other than you.
I know we hang out a lot,
yeah.
But if you also have feelings, can we start maybe doing exclusive dating? Can we start dating?
I would love that.
Okay.
Let's go bowling tonight.
Perfect.
Okay.
As a date.
Yes.
Like an actual date.
No, I'm going to change my Facebook to in a relationship.
Oh, you just hold off on that.
Okay, never mind. I literally have never changed my Facebook. I think I was married and still had single.
I think I was with Andrew for 2 years and then I was like, oh.
No, I got yelled at.
So that's how you would expand it. You want to always be honest with yourself, be honest with the person that you're, having this relationship with. And if things become more for you, there always is a possibility that this person says, you know what, I truly have a great time hanging out with you. But I just, I'm not at the space and I'm not at the, point in my life where I want a relationship. And although I really do, care about you and like you as a person, that's just not where I am. When somebody is not going to say yes to the opening of a possibility of a new relationship, there's no relationship. There's nothing, you can't push someone, into saying yes. You have to allow people their space and also their own freedom to come to this at their themselves. So all you could do is just be honest. And again, you want to be we're in a time where everyone loves to hide how they really feel because they don't want rejection. They don't want to feel like, oh, I care about this person, so any form of rejection from this person is going to hurt me. Yeah, that's the whole part of relationships. Say it anyways, because this is the expansion process of you. Be open anyways. Even if you fear someone's emotionally unavailable or isn't going to be open or reciprocate in the way that you want, be open anyways. Always go with you being open. There's a point of being way too open to where it becomes like an attachment also, but be open to the point where you're speaking your own personal truths for the opportunity of something happening. And then if that person doesn't want it, then you have to make that decision. And again, after you've just laid it out there that you have feelings, there's really no way to go back to a friends with benefits. So just so if you guys are on the edge of your seats thinking okay, well, you don't want a relationship, that's okay. Well, we'll hang out on Saturday and we'll go through no, there's no way. The cat's out of the bag. There's no point.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And you can't be an emotional terrorist.
And you can't
and you can't terrorize them into a relationship.
And there's no swindling and terrorizing and manipulating them into them changing your answer. There's just none of that because we are mature ass women here, ladies
And men.
and men. And, you know, part of the freedom of people is allowing people to come at, huge crossroads on their own.
What if they work at super glacial speeds?
Like me and Andrew.
Slower. Like we're talking like Arctic ice age.
That's as long as, again, it's not compromising your values and your wants, in life and your wants in this relationship. Then it's like if it's something that you can, it's a compromising part. If it's not too much where it's compromising, oh my God, like I can't sit here waiting for you, then it's probably not the right situation. But if it's like, hey, you spoke your truths and then this person is starting to meet you, then you got something to work with.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The last rule, ladies and gents. Well, we talked about it. Don't start a friends with benefits with anyone that you already want something more with.
Oh.
So this is the thing.
Oh, you're setting yourself up.
You're setting yourself up. And this is when it's like, okay, I really want to be around this person. I really find this person attractive. And I've just really felt that some type of way about this person for a long time. And the only way to even get around this person is to have a friends with benefit. No. It's a big fat no. Do not do that. It's not right for you. It's not right for them. We're not here to play games. We are here. And again, and to be the cool guy or girl. We need to be very, very clear about where we are and what we're asking for. There is, obviously I'm in a long-term relationship, but the stage that I was in when, friends with benefit relationships worked for me, that was only a stage for me. That is not to my core how I operate, because I'm a very sensual person. I need emotional connection. So that wouldn't be a thing for me, unless I was going through another stage or another dip, but be very honest about where you are and what you can handle and what you want, and set yourself up for success in these relationships, because you don't want to be with somebody and feel like they're not seeing you when you want to be seen by them, and if that's the case, then you can't do this. You can't do this to yourself because it's torture. And then the torture is what makes that experience. And then you start calling people, this is the thing around the internet, narcissist, narcissist this, narcissist. And this is a very serious label to place on someone, and nobody and most people are not qualified to place such labels on people. So just because you're in a relationship with somebody that isn't fitting your needs or giving you what you want, or doesn't mean that they're a narcissist. There is, again, that is such a huge label, and I keep seeing it around, and I know it gets a lot of views. I know it gets a lot of attention, and I know a lot of us feel like we may have been in a relationship with somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, but this is not something, I'm sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent, but this is just something that I see online all the time, and I feel like it's completely inappropriate. When, we are also setting ourselves up to get into these types of relationships. And somebody might be already telling the truth, but then because they're not wanting what you want, then we want to start placing labels on. This is not the time.
Oh, or living up to your expectations.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, what is a narcissist? What's the actual definition of one? Sorry, now I'm just curious.
Well, I don't really want to get into that. But a narcissist, we all have narcissistic tendencies. It's kind of like, when ego gets a bad rap, right? Your ego gets in the way. Narcissistic tendencies are very self-fulfilling types of people. They, and this is why the empath versus the narcissist, we did an episode about it with Zen Rose Garden. They are absolutely key. We'll put the link below. It is a whole episode on just how the attraction, because a lot of people even like to call themselves empaths, because it's this, I feel and I give and I give. Well, in a relationship, it's all about give and take, give and take. Well, with a narcissist, it's more about the take, right? Okay. So it's easy to, if you're in a unbalanced relationship, to label someone as a narcissist, we all have narcissistic tendencies.
But it's not a bad thing sometimes because
it's not.
It makes people achieve things and do things in life also.
Right. It's a spectrum of narcissism is all on a spectrum. Any personality disorder, it's so hard unless you are a true professional. And this is why I think for me, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. But what I have a problem with is seeing online from dating experts and relationship experts and all of these things, because you're not qualified enough to call a person a narcissist or diagnose any personality disorder. This is not your field. And us, people who are experiencing themselves in relationships, you're also not qualified to label somebody, because we all have our roles. We are all signing and saying yes to agreements. So you have a place in this as well. Now, there are some relationships that people have been traumatized and terrorized and gone through trauma in relationships because of personality disorders and people that they've actually been with. And that there's a time and place for diagnosis there and to speak with a qualified professional to help you with that, because there's, that's a serious issue. But this is just us getting into a relationship with someone who doesn't want to be in a relationship with us, and us giving more in that relationship doesn't make that person a narcissist. So okay, just so we're clear. But yes, go check out that episode we did with Zen Rose Garden. They are who I go to. They're hypnotherapists, craniosacral therapists, psychotherapists. They actually, we kind of dive into that, the empath versus the narcissist, and those relationships. We also did an episode on, I think, the different types of relationship.
I could look it up.
Yeah. We'll get that for you. Those two episodes are very, very powerful and something that I definitely suggest.
Dynamics of dysfunctional relationships. Those are. And power struggles in relationships. Yes. Okay, I'm going to link both of those.
Zen Rose Garden always comes through. Now, are we ready for some myth busting?
I used to love Mythbusters.
Do you want to do the honors?
Oh, I would love to. Okay. Here are our relationship myths. This one came from a comment on our YouTube video about Friends with Benefits. Because the person commented, females always end up catching feelings. They are wired to seek relationships, not sex.
Okay, so the myth is it's harder for women to have a friends with benefits relationship than men.
Yes.
That is a huge myth. Again, that is generalizing and assuming that all men are just sexual creatures and they don't have the capacity for emotional involvement. And although it's easier to say that men, kind of go towards the more sexual side of things and can have sexual relationships, women can too. And again, going through the erotic blueprints, if you are, that carbonated water,
I keep gurgling.
I know. If you land more on the sexual side of your blueprint, your erotic blueprint, then you probably can have sex without emotional attachment. And there are, in a room full of women, I would say, and this is not science, so please do not come after me. But as I was studying my friends and family, there's literally 1 out of 7 women that could have sex without any emotional involvement.
I can see that.
And we all have, I've done it. I've gone through, not to say that that's my core right now, mm-hmm. Or even if Andrew and I weren't together, I wouldn't say that that's where I land right now. Depending on where you land currently and what stage of life you're in, it is women are definitely capable of having a friends with benefits relationship. It happens all the time.
I also think if anybody's listened to Call Her Daddy, the podcast, they like revolutionized women just having sex because they want to have sex and have like made it okay, where it's less taboo, I think, for women to be not promiscuous, but to be open about having multiple partners, where before I feel like women were shamed for having sex with a lot of people. So people would be, well, what's your number? Now women are less ashamed to have sex with people casually, where before it was this taboo thing, but it was okay for men to do.
Right.
So I think that also is a shift. And I think that's why we might see more women
come forward,
getting into the friends with benefits.
And like, again, your body is your body, and you're like, going back to my exploration, because I wanted to explore sexually and just with different partners, and like, not to say like I'm out hoeing around, but if I was, that's my prerogative. Exactly. It's your body, ladies. You have to feel good about what you do. Never, ever adopt shame from anyone. You have to, take care of you and make sure that, you're not getting yourself in situations where you're doing things, again, when you want something more. But it is, women taking ownership of their bodies and their sexual desires. That's empowering. And that's scary for, we have just a system, of oppression on women's bodies and just women in general. It was just until the last 100 years where women are actually able to vote and have a say in, their rights and everything. And now it's like, we've had such an institution to suppress women and their bodies and their desires and all of those things. And that's not something that, and we're stepping into this modern time where women are like, oh no, I have a say and should have a say over my body and what I want to experience and who I want to experience it with. There should be no shame coming at her, and be safe and take care of yourself and make sure you're doing things that you feel comfortable doing. But nobody should be placing shame on that.
No way.
Mm-mm.
Okay, myth number 2. It's possible to have a friends with benefits relationship with an ex-partner.
No. No. I mean, it is rare. I think
there's no way.
We have a video that's if you could be friends with your ex. And that's something.
Can you even be friends?
That's possible.
But not sexual friends.
But it's like, here's the thing. Like, I don't think, unless your relationship kind of turned into, you guys have a good partnership, but you guys just don't feel romantically involved anymore. And then maybe you have kids and stuff.
That
maybe after, your relationship, you don't have really that emotional connection or like that intimacy there. So there's no like, there wouldn't be any jealousy or anything like that, where you guys can kind of establish a good friendship and stuff like that. That's possible and happens.
But if you throw sex in the mix?
But if you guys broke up and you still want something, like, obviously it's like re-signing up for the game that didn't work for you guys to begin with. It usually doesn't work. And a friends with benefits, it's like you already know a person. You already had this emotional connection with this person. You already have history with this person. And now you're signing up for a casual dating and casual, like hookups. It's like that to me usually does not work. Maybe it was an ex of like 10 years and you guys like kind of reconnected and it's just like, oh, we can like hook up and maybe there's no feelings there.
I don't know. Once you pass this threshold, I think there's no going back.
Right. I don't foresee it working for friends with benefits.
Maybe you can get back together though.
Right. It's usually because there's an interest in getting back together, which is like, that's not a friends with benefits agreement. So make sure that you're not signing yourself up just to be around someone or to try to swindle someone to change their mind. That is just not going to work. So usually friends with benefits with an ex is just not going to work.
Wait, if an ex wants to be friends with benefits with you, they're probably just in it for the physical.
It could be different. Yeah, different.
Or they
reasons.
want to see other. I don't know.
Yeah, it could just be. It just depends on the person, and what they need. Companionship or whatever. But if they're not capable of giving you what you want emotionally, that just does not work, because it's like one person is expecting more than the other.
And I feel like the level of hurt would be increased because you already have an established relationship with that person. So the rejection would be even worse,
right?
In my opinion.
100%.
Okay, number 3. Friends with benefits can never work. Somebody will always catch feelings. That
is a myth, because friends with benefits works, right? It works. It doesn't, not everyone catches feelings, because if you are signing an agreement with somebody who's in the same stage, has the same wants as you, this is just companionship and nothing else, and you guys have agreed to it, it works.
Do you think though long term, because I think the more you spend time with people, the closer you become, so eventually somebody would have to, given the longevity of it?
No, because if you guys are very clear about, what this relationship is, most of the time, good friends with benefits relationships, the boundaries are in place where you're not spending time together.
That makes sense.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not going on date night. Usually healthy boundaries are healthy boundaries to establish, so that you're not establishing more feelings than you're comfortable with. So I would say that it is very possible to have a friends with benefits relationship. Not everyone catches feelings, and that goes with the communication and setting solid boundaries, and not getting into these type of relationships when you can't. Even if I wasn't with Andrew, I know right now I can't. No. That's just not where my center is right now.
So do you think, say you're in it, well, I was going to say healthy, but I don't know if healthy is the right word.
Yeah.
Friends with benefits relationship. Do you think it would end if somebody met someone they wanted to date?
Probably.
That wasn't with you.
Yeah. And you'd have to be okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to think of what would be the ending then. It's, probably they meet someone that they want to be in a relationship with.
Right. And you're okay that they're dating, around, and that you might get that phone call that, hey, I enjoyed my time with you. I actually, I've been dating somebody and I really have feelings for him or her. And this is just, I just want to let you know. And, I wish you well.
Adios.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay. So we found this article.
Oh, goodness.
This person, first of all, I thought it was a lady writing it. It turned out it was a man writing the article. I just pulled out snippets.
And here, this is just
the
crazy. Only reason why and I'm getting so heated about things is just, this is the advice that plays into, and again, a lot of it is for views and all of that stuff, but in clicks, and to try to, get into the favor of women and overgeneralizing women. And I'm just not here for it. So anyways, go ahead.
Let's read. These are just some little snippets. Okay. You will run a much greater risk of getting caught up in the web of wrong or downright narcissistic men.
So but can you preface it with who he's talking to?
Just, a woman that is thinking about getting into a friends with benefits relationship.
What this dating coach is
saying,
why
you should not do it,
is pretty much generalizing that women, will hurt themselves getting into these types of relationships because women are feelings driven and men are sex driven. And that's, again, overgeneralizing, and that's not something that we stand for.
Also, they mentioned that it is biologically inevitable because you can't have sex with someone without catching feelings because of oxytocin.
Right.
Is that true?
I need
a doctor to comment.
Dating,
where are the doctors?
Oxytocin doesn't happen in the male brain.
What?
No. So this is, again, overgeneralizing and saying women are incapable of having sex without these chemicals releasing in the brain that causes the attachment to it. But that is not true. Yes, these chemicals happen when you are in a relationship or around somebody that you love and you care about. Even with friendships and things that these feelings happen. But on both sides. But it doesn't mean that women, can't. It's just not possible for women to have a friends with benefits type of relationship without catching feelings.
Okay, so for men, friends with benefits is great. Unfortunately, it's a form of emotional abuse with almost only female victims. So he's implying that men never get hurt in friends with benefits relationships.
Yes, and the abuse is pretty harsh.
Abuse.
Everyone is signing up for every relationship that you're in, toxic or otherwise. You are signing up, but to use abuse in this time, it's almost as if, women are these like weak creatures, like unaware of what they're signing up for.
Or we don't choose what decisions we make and what we're doing.
Right.
The astonishing lack of pickiness men have when it comes to sex. So men are just sleeping with anything anything that walks. But this is still kind of a relationship because it's not just a random one night stand. You're hanging out to some degree.
Yes.
So they clearly have some type of fondness towards you.
100%. TLC is all about empowering women and men, right? And one of the things that we left off on, which I really want to get into. So the last point that he made in this article, if you can reread it.
There's a constant pressure on women to sleep with whoever. The ultimate sign of the feminist revolution is that women now have the same attitude towards sex as men.
You think this is a new revolution? Women were sexual creatures since the beginning of time. Women used to be honored and praised and worshiped as these sexual beings until it became, we came into the world of suppression. And this is not something that through religion, through patriarchy, these societies that were created to suppress women's sexuality. This is not something new. Women didn't just wake up and say, oh, I'm a sexual creature. We've always been sexual beings. So this isn't anything new. So articles like this is really I don't want to say it's just misleading and disempowering because the reason why, we're starting to wake up right now is because we have these feelings, and the more and more women talk about it, or the more and more that we start to express ourselves, the more it ignites people to do the same. So this is something that's not new. We've lived in time and time where women have been suppressed. Women are still suppressed in certain parts of the world. And we are still working on that. This isn't something new that, oh my goodness, all of a sudden we became sexual creatures and we're just trying to be men. That you can be completely, truly in your feminine and be a sexual creature and not have an emotional attachment when, you can compartmentalize those things, the act of sex and your emotional attachment. That's not just a masculine distinction. So we're going to get into this because the masculine and feminine conversations is something that we definitely want to open up. So, okay, continue.
But it's scary, like a young woman reading this. If I was like 18 reading this, I would think if I'm feeling like, oh, maybe I want to be in a friends with benefits relationship, then I read this, I would think, oh, I'm like something's wrong with me.
Yes.
And that is not good.
Right.
Those were all the main points that I found.
Okay.
The last one was like the ultimate.
Yeah. So we just wanted to kind of go through these myths and just also talk about things that you're seeing online and just what gets clicks and what gets views. And it's like wounded, it's like people catering to wounded parts of us for marketing and for this is just not something that we ever want to fall into, because with TLC, it's all about, listen, things have happened to all of us. We've gotten into toxic relationships. We put ourselves in situations that probably was one-sided and didn't work out. We've all been there, done that. We've all experienced pain. And we're all in this opportunity of opening. And what I want TLC to be, and for all of us, is just to find the opening to really explore and experience who we are without the shame. We already have enough shame. We've already been through it. Like we've from families, from spiritual practices, from people around us, from relationships, from trauma, all of this. Like we've all have this baggage of shame and guilt and that we're not good enough. And what I want us to do is just put the bag down and not adopt beliefs from other people that are limiting. And as a coach, and again, that's why I don't call myself an expert, because there's things that I'm also experiencing and going through. And I hope that these episodes are just us like kind of shooting the shit and just kind of seeing what we're checking out online and just kind of us having an open dialogue here. But when you are in the field of helping people, you know, catering to limited and wounded parts of people is just not the way to go. If you are going to lead with, you know, again, issues that we maybe like, especially, you know, if you've ever experienced toxic relationships and stuff, educate and help people through that. And I think just limiting women's like capacity for experiencing their sexual like bodies is just not something I'm subscribing to.
I think an overall theme too, whether it's your job or a friend with benefits relationship, everything leads into we make choices for ourselves and we put ourselves into situations.
Yes.
And we can't blame people for things that we choose to do.
Yeah. And you know what? You could have been in a relationship with a very horrible person.
Yeah.
And you know, I hope that if you are watching this and you are still in a toxic relationship, that the opening is there for you to raise your hand for help and seek the help, because you know, it's traumatizing and it's hard to get out of relationships like that. And you're going to need some help. And if you know someone like that, you're going to, you know, be there for them, create space for them so that they have that opportunity to leave relationships like that. But at the end of the day, also, when we leave relationships and we're mending and we're healing from toxic relationships or bad experiences, that we also don't fall into the victimhood of it. You know, of course, you may have gone through abuse, and there is a full-on right for you to use this opportunity to heal and, you know, to get help, you know, because of what somebody did to you. Because this is, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, there are some really toxic relationships and times that we put ourselves into situations that, you know, hurt us. And you were a victim. But at the end of the day, I want us to all feel that from here on out, that we can, if we don't have control over our lives, because a lot of times we don't have control over much. There's not much, you know, we don't have all the power, and we definitely don't have control over other people. And other people can be really evil sometimes and toxic. That we still find some light within us to get out of these types of relationships and or heal from these types of relationships and take ownership of, you know, even the part that we played.
Wow.
But yeah, so I hope this helped. Ladies, I know we went off on
a couple tangents.
Just a couple, just a few. But yeah, friends with benefits, definitely doable. Also doable to make it into something else. You know, Andrew and I, we started out as friends. Then we started out with friends with benefits. I was dating someone else. And then I started seeing his heart. You know, I started seeing like who he was, and I was dating a couple of other people, and I just really loved him. Like, he's like a little Buddha. I started seeing who he was, and like, I just loved who I was around him, you know? And then that's when I realized, like, why would I want to be with anybody who I had to be some type of way for? You know, with Andrew, I can like literally, I just like who I am when I'm around him. I could be free. I love our conversations. I just love who he is. And here we are.
10 years later.
Almost, yeah.
Are you still friends with benefits?
We are. Sometimes we're not friends, but being with somebody for 10 plus years, you know, there are days, especially throwing a baby in the mix. Some days we're not friends. Yeah. Okay. But we still like each other, which is really important. And that partnership is there. And yeah, intimacy is the ebbs and flow. We'll talk about that because I know a lot of moms are like, how do we reconnect with a baby? And that's something that I'm in the trenches with and I am going to talk about. Trust me. So, so our relationship started out as a friends with benefits. So it can definitely turn into something more. But that wasn't where and how it started.
Ooh.
So
thank you guys for listening, watching.
Thank you, ladies. If you liked this episode and you're on iTunes, please rate and review. We love the reviews. We check them out. It feeds our little ego.
Yeah.
We're talking about ego and
We're
narcissism. We're not compulsive narcissists.
I can't talk about that right now. Don't get me started with that.
Got a little ego. That's okay. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Ring that bell.
Comment.
Let us know what you thought, and we'll be in the comment section with you. And then, as always, we'll have all the resources, full resources of today's episode on theladiescoach.com for you, and all the episodes that we also talked about.
Yeah.
All right. We hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and catch you next Thursday.